The following episode will contain spoilers. You have been warned.
You're listening to Cinema IRL, the podcast that throws you into the movie and asks the question, what would you do? Today we get to discuss a complete PR nightmare for Chuck E. Cheese after Amber and Scott watched Five Nights at Freddy's 2. And now, Cinema IRL.
I wish I could switch places for just one day.
What would you do?
Put yourself in my shoes.
How do we handle this?
What would you do?
Put yourself in my position.
What would you do?
Now it's your turn.
If the first one was the most effed up Chuck E. Cheese experience ever, then this one was the most effed up Chuck E. Cheese takeout experience ever.
Takeout?
Well, yeah, the first one, they all stayed inside the store.
Okay.
Inside the restaurant. And this one, they got out.
They did. They did indeed. All right, ladies and gentlemen, this episode we are talking about Five Nights at Freddy's 2. 1 year has passed since the supernatural nightmare at Freddy Fazbear's Pizza. The stories about what transpired there have been twisted into a campy local legend inspiring the town's first ever Faz Fest. Yeah, so the animatronics live on. I mean, there's the original outlet for the pizzeria. So we have a new site that we didn't know existed in the first one. And the other versions of the animatronics live there, and they are in play.
Yes, they are. And then we got this marionette.
Yeah.
That wasn't in the first one.
Yeah, it felt very... oh, gosh. What is that franchise, that horror franchise you like? With the guy in the
Saw?
trike? Yeah, Saw. It felt like the guy from Saw. The marionette did. It had Saw vibes.
Actually, I actually completely see that. I'm wondering, so again, as I've told you, this is an extremely popular video game franchise. And I feel like I want to do a little bit of my homework now on this one to know if, like, the second video game introduced the marionette. Because during the credits, we saw another character. And as popular a franchise as it is, I've never played. I don't really know anything about that. But I have my suspicions that whatever that was might have been something that got introduced in the third video game and thus is going to be introduced into the, obviously, Five Nights at Freddy's 3.
Yeah, I think a large majority of the audience is familiar with the game and the characters and that franchise because of that. You and I just know this as a movie, so when things like that happen, we are not the ones to pick up on what was laid down.
Like, I think it's very clear, like, the guy who's the cab driver was a very popular, like, top 5 type creator doing video game playthroughs, and the game he got known for doing was Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah, I think his name is Theodis Crane.
Yes. Yeah, it was like Theo X Crane or so. I don't know. I saw his YouTube name. I don't remember what it was, but
that's a great story.
But yeah, the number of people who really popped when he came on screen, like that's the pop you normally hear when one of the actors is there in the theater and they have a bunch of their friends. And to the best of my knowledge, he was not.
For folks who weren't in the theater with us, everyone in the theater clapped when he came on screen and pulled up in the cab.
I mean, that was not a clap. That was...
Well, they hoot and hollered.
It was
yes.
hooting and clapping and that was... I mean, it's interesting because it does kind of point out a little bit of, I guess, generational type vibes because I didn't know who he was.
Yeah.
But they definitely did.
Yeah. So we have, and we did not rewatch the first one, and not being familiar with this franchise, I was trying to remember what happened. So, like, all the characters fought, and pretty much everyone was killed, and we have Vanessa, whose dad basically was behind all of the wrongdoing. And I remembered as we progressed throughout the film that he had passed away. But here's what I didn't understand is at the end, Mike, who's a security guard in the first one, is basically like, get away, Vanessa. I don't have anything to do with you. And I didn't really see Vanessa doing anything wrong. She was the one that was trying to keep Abby, his sister, safe and flagging for him that she had gone to the original restaurant. And he was kind of a jerk to her, I thought.
Yeah, I'm actually with you on that one. That felt a little out of the blue and unnecessary.
But what do you do if you are Vanessa? So in the first film, she goes through this whole thing. She gets shot. She finds out her dad was involved in all the bad doing at the pizza place. And we see her after trying to move on, but being plagued by seeing the animatronics and the characters and what had happened and her dad. And she's got some very serious baggage, which I think is perfectly reasonable. What would you do if you had been through a trauma like that? We have dead air.
Well, we have software that kills that. Yeah. It's hard to say. Trauma can manifest itself in many different ways, and it often leads to involuntary, irrational results. Yeah.
I think given the circumstance, it's rational to feel lingering trauma over that, reliving it. It's hard to know exactly what you would do if you'd gone through that trauma, but I don't know if my medicine of choice would be spinning, which is, of course, riding those bikes, the spinning bikes.
Yeah.
I think that girl needs some mental health support to get through what she had been through.
I mean, trauma itself is an irrational response. It's an understandable one, but it is still irrational when you're like, you can't get past this event that happened in the past, and you
also,
theoretically know that there's nothing wrong now. But
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I'm unsure of how much time has passed between the second one and the first one.
1 year.
1 year, okay.
As I believe you said, 1 year.
Oh, I did. I'm sorry, I'm not listening to myself. I hope you folks do. Please. Yeah, so 1 year, maybe you've healed from your physical wounds, because if I recall correctly, I believe she was shot. But yeah, you've got that lingering drama of what you've been through, but then also knowing that your dad was involved, and then ultimately we find out in the film that her brother's also involved in all of this.
Yeah. It does make me wish I had gone back and rewatched the first one, because admittedly, I thought I'd be fine to remember, and I ended up not remembering very much. So.
And what you do, like one thing that I flag throughout this is we have Mike, and I do remember that Abby is his sister.
Yeah, that's what I was trying to remember. If I didn't think that was a father-daughter thing, I felt like it was a brother-sister thing.
Yeah, it was. So we have Abby, who is a smart, precocious young girl who sneaks out at night and goes to the original restaurant to reconnect with all of the animatronic characters. And Vanessa basically flags this for Mike, her brother, saying she said she was there, and she even drew pictures of it, which Mike saw. And then Mike's all, she didn't do that. Stop creating problems. What would you do if you were Vanessa in that circumstance where you see what happened, you hear Abby say what she did, you know that there's pictures, she's admitted what she's done, and you have someone who's like, no, that didn't happen, and you want to protect Abby, but you have this brother who is denying what actually happened, which isn't even that big of a leap to even kind of accept.
Yeah, this is actually an easy answer for me. You would just look at him and say, hey, listen, this is your sister. I understand that you're looking out for her best interest. I'm not her sister. So all I can do is tell you the information that I have. Whether or not you believe me is going to be totally up to you. But let me tell you, I'm not going to waste my time feeding you a bunch of BS unless it's true.
Yeah. Mike seemed to have some issues. That was one of them. And then, of course, at the end of the film where
Yeah,
he blames her. I'm like,
Yeah,
what are you doing,
If
dude?
I'm being frankly honest, Mike is not a very well-written character.
Okay, so another what would you do is so random, but I think it's a very important topic to discuss here. We see Mike going out to dinner with Vanessa early in the film. And there's a question whether or not it's a date. He wears a tie. He sits down. He's waiting for him. He has some bread. For whatever reason, there is not a small plate on the table for him to set his bread on. I'm not sure why. That's a whole other discussion. But there is no plate. And he's eating his bread. And the crumbs fall onto the tablecloth. And a waiter runs over and then uses a little metal tool to scrape it off the tablecloth into his hands to discard it. And then later, Vanessa shows up. She enjoys bread as well. Crumbs hit the floor. He runs over and uses the tool to get the crumbs off the table. What would you do if you were Vanessa or Mike at that restaurant?
I appreciate the level of service that you're providing, and I'm glad that you're that on top of the customers. That said, I'm going to relieve you of that responsibility for while we're here. So if we get some crumbs, we get some crumbs. But if you wouldn't mind getting me a little plate for the bread, maybe that'll make both of our lives easier.
I like that. I think that is a good what would you do response, because if someone did that to me, first of all, I'd be like, what is happening here?
that is a thing. I've been to restaurants where that is a thing.
Why don't they have plates?
Oh, okay, that's not a thing. See, that's the thing. You're going to have plates.
So you have been to places where they have a plate for the bread and a crumb hits the tablecloth and someone runs over and sweeps it up?
It's not if a crumb hits. I mean, there usually has to be like a reasonable buildup of the crumbs, but they won't run over.
I don't know if I don't go to enough high-end restaurants to know that that's a thing, but I
usually it's going to be your
dig
waiter who is doing something maybe while they're dropping off something or checking in on you. Then they'll do it as well. Like it's when you just have someone that runs in, scrapes your table, and runs out without a word. That's a little creepy.
It was I found it really disruptive. If I was out dining and then I had to all of a sudden be self-conscious of any crumb that hit the floor, that I was inconveniencing someone or at least making them perform this job because I had dropped a crumb. I didn't like that. I would not enjoy that as a dining experience. Again, I know totally random, but something in the film that really made me tilt my head to the side.
I mean, if we're being honest, the film wasn't good. I did not think it was good. It had more plot holes than Swiss cheese and a lot of people acting in irrational manners. It's fun because it's part of the franchise, and there's enough coolness factor that you're fine with it not being. I mean, I'm not saying it's a bad movie. I'm just saying it's not a good one. It's 1 to 10, like a 4.5.
It's a film that did really well at the box office, and I think someone said, well, heck yeah, let's do this again. And they were right to do so because the theater was packed.
Oh, yeah, no, for sure. And we're going to get a 3. And I don't offhand know how deep the video game franchise goes, but yeah. I suspect we're not going to stop at 3.
Yeah, for those who haven't seen it yet, and I hope you already have if you're here with us, there was little nuggets at the end, absolutely being very clear that there was a 3, and there was multiple little things at the end. So if you haven't seen it and if we haven't ruined it for you, which I'm pretty sure we have, stay to the very end because there's multiple things that crop up once you think the movie's over.
Yes, definitely. I'm trying to think what would you do?
Oh, what would you do? What would you do if you were Abby and your jerk of a robotics teacher tried to keep you out of the robotics show, first of all, by pressuring you to withdraw. And then when you show up, jerk robotics teacher takes your contribution and pretends to drop it on the ground and breaks it so you cannot participate.
He deserved to die.
Teachers who dim the light of children, they deserve to be fired quickly and harshly, because those are the kind of stories that people hang on to well into adulthood that can actually shape how people behave and the courage they have or the risks that they take. The influence of teachers is so powerful, and to see a teacher do that repeatedly, it was painful.
Yeah, no, it was. Yeah, people like that should not be in the profession. And luckily, he was removed from his role.
Yeah. Sometimes there's people you want to get killed. We saw something recently. Who did we want to get killed?
Probably a lot of people.
I'm trying to remember what movie we saw.
So many.
But yeah, sometimes there are characters out of the gate. You're like, okay, yeah, no, I'm okay. Them biting the dust.
So, by the way, not counting things like spin-offs and downloadable content and what they're calling troll games, I don't know what that is, there are at least 12 Five Nights at Freddy's video games.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, main ones. So
this could be like the Scream franchise, which is actually coming out with a Scream 7 pretty soon.
yeah, like I'm looking at this and
Which is crazy, because that franchise is almost, was it almost 30 years old? Yeah.
yeah, no, it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then Five Nights at Freddy's sister location, Pizza Simulator, Help Wanted, Special Delivery, Security Breach, Help Wanted 2, Into the Pit, and Secret of the Mimic, which I mean, that feels very marionette-ish. Like,
Yeah.
maybe they just went to, I don't know, I'll have to look.
Yeah, if you're going to create a franchise, that definitely seems like a good one to dip into when you have that kind of content to support future films.
Yeah, I mean, that's the dream, is that, and sometimes it happens, it works out really well, like Fallout on Amazon. I know you haven't seen it. I've watched the first couple of episodes, and I mean, it's something like 17 Emmy nominations for its first season.
Oh, wow.
And it's outstanding, and it's completely based on a video game. It's actually funny because people are, I guess, talking about their Spotify Wrapped thing,
Yeah.
and we're getting a lot of very young people who are getting very old scores on that, like teenagers and young 20-somethings who get like a score of like 83 because of Fallout, because all the music from Fallout is like 60 years ago. So they're listening to this music, which is like 60 years old. I think I went on a tangent there, but
A little bit. I think the person we wanted to die in the other film was Running Man. The Running Man. There was somebody in the Running Man we wanted to die, and they died.
so many people died in the Running Man. Yeah.
So, final thoughts on Five Nights at Freddy's 2. I mean, the what would you do's here are kind of light. Like, if there's killer animatronics, I don't know. Maybe don't engage.
Actually, I have one more. What would you do for you?
Okay.
So you've just escaped Freddy Fazbear's pizzeria joint,
Yay!
and you're driving down the road, and you realize what I guess it was was it two or one animatronic?
I think it was a two-headed dog.
It's on your roof, and
Yeah.
it's punching through your windows.
Yeah.
What do you do?
Oh, I was kind of wondering why she didn't just hard slam on the brake and get it to fly off the front towards, because I think that's what I would do. Because, like, swerving around, especially into oncoming traffic, didn't seem like the best idea. I would just brake really hard and hope it would fly forward off the top.
Yeah, it's interesting because if it's robotic, it possibly has enough force to be able to hold on. I don't know. Like, I didn't understand that scene where after they broke both windows and were clearly coming in for her, she just gets back in the passenger seat, starts this car, which clearly should not be drivable based on the accident she's just had, and just starts driving away, and they cut. I'm like,
Yeah, I
You
wondered
realize
where
that
they
thing's
were.
it's still on the hood, right?
Yeah, it was on the
Or
roof.
the roof.
It was
The
on the
roof.
roof of the car, and based on the way it was reaching in, you could tell that it was above her because it was reaching from above. So for her to pull off and then be back on the road and have it not be there, I absolutely noticed that too, because it's not like it was down on the ground trying to get to her. It was still on top of the car.
Yeah, unfortunately, this is part of those Swiss cheese cheese plot holes.
Yeah.
But
I mean, this isn't meant to be an Oscar winner, and
Yeah,
it's
no,
just
it's
meant
a-
to be a lot of fun.
It's a
and,
blockbuster, and it is a fun movie. I want to make sure it's clear why I say it's not good. That is from a classical Siskel and Ebert thumbs up type perspective. It's a fun movie, and
if you like the video game and you have a relationship with these characters beyond that we do, you're probably going to relate to this film on a deeper level and really enjoy it. I know as we were leaving, there was a young girl that was maybe around, 7, 8, and she had all the character stuffed animals with her, and she had a stuffed animal
She was
backpack with
adorable.
all the characters, and I spoke to her a little bit, and she was adorable, yeah. So if this is something that either you play or someone in your family plays and you know the story and the characters, you're just going to have a fun time here.
yeah. Okay, so you asked for final.
Yeah.
I have one.
Okay.
I have a PSA.
I don't think you do.
Sure, I do. Ladies and
don't
gentlemen,
think you do.
when they ask you to stay off your phones, don't be a jerk. Stay off your phones.
We hope you enjoyed our episode. Thank you for listening. And to catch all the new episodes, please subscribe. We release 2 to 3 episodes weekly, so we'll have new content regularly. Until next time.